Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, and today I am going to be doing a much requested video on how to convince your parents that your hamster needs a bigger cage. I did a video a few months back on how to convince your parents to get you a hamster, and I will leave that video up in the iCards. But today is just for the people who already own a hamster and they don't have a big enough cage and their parents aren't letting them get a bigger cage. That is what today's video is going to be about. This is how to convince your parents, or more how to tell your parents that your hamster needs a bigger cage. I'm just going to go over the basics on why hamsters need bigger cages. I have an entire video explaining the whole thing, so I will leave that up in the iCorner. But hamsters basically are burrowing animals, and they also are very, very energetic animals. They need a cage that is at least 450 square inches of floor space, but more is recommended by the Hamster Society. All of the experienced hamster owners, they all say that above 450 square inches of floor space is recommended. I would recommend 800 square inches at least. 450 square inches is the bare minimum on what you can give your hamster. So if your hamster is in a small cage under 450 square inches, or if they are in a cage above 450 square inches but they still aren't happy and your parents aren't letting you get them a bigger cage, here are some tips on how to convince your parents that your hamster needs a bigger cage. So just a few quick signs that your hamster needs a bigger cage is if they are continuously chewing on the bars of their cage, if they are monkey barring up the side of the cage, climbing the bars and then climbing the roof as well, if they are jumping at the side of the aquarium if you have one. Those are just a few of the signs that your hamster is stressed out and does not like their habitat. So if you see any of these signs, your hamster needs a bigger cage. One of the ways to convince your parents to get you a bigger cage is that you are going to pay for this cage yourself. Now, if you're a kid, it can be hard to make money to get a bigger cage, especially during now with the whole pandemic. Generally, parents aren't going to get you a bigger cage if it is going to cost them a lot of money. So you need to make a deal with them. Maybe you make half the money and they'll pay for the other half, or you pay for the entire cage yourself. That is a big reason why most parents don't want to get their hamsters a bigger cage, is because they don't want to spend the money to pay for a bigger cage. You do need to make the money yourself. If it is your own pet and your own responsibility, then you need to be able to make the money to take care of this pet, to get it a bigger cage, because ultimately the hamster is, it just needs a better life. If it is doing any of the reasons I said before, then it needs a bigger cage. So making the money to get a larger cage will definitely help convince your parents that your hamster needs a bigger cage, because you are willing to pay for the cage that the hamster needs. There is a huge misconception in the hamster world that hamsters love small cages, and hamsters, they're small animals, so they can live in small cages. They don't need a large cage. You need to tell your parents that the cage that you have is too small, it is unsuitable, it isn't good, and you need to just tell them all of the reasons why you need a bigger cage. You can't just go up to them and say, hey, can I get a bigger cage for my hamster? They're most likely going to say no. You need to tell your parents the reasons why your hamster needs a larger cage, and tell them that it is a misconception that hamsters enjoy small cages, because most parents believe that, and most parents will just keep the hamsters in little tiny cages because they think that the hamster either enjoys it, or that it has to live in there, or that it is a small animal so it doesn't need a big cage to live in. Another reason why parents won't get their hamsters a larger cage is because they say that they don't have enough space for a large cage. Now, this is a thing that you need to deal with yourself. You can maybe make some room in your bedroom. Maybe you could get rid of a small side table or something in your bedroom that takes up quite a bit of space. You need to make the room for a large hamster cage, or just a decent sized hamster cage that your hamster will be happy in. You need to make sure that you have the space. If you do not have the space for a suitable hamster cage, it is recommended that you don't own a hamster, just because it is not fair to the animal to be kept in a small cage for the purpose of you can't get them a larger habitat. Maybe you can give it to a friend who can give them a large habitat, and then you visit the hamster often or something like that, but your hamster comes before anything else. So the hamster being happy comes before even owning the hamster. So if you do not have the space, like 100% don't have the space anywhere for a large hamster cage, maybe you can't have a hamster living in your house. I know some people will be a little bit upset about this because they don't want to get rid of their hamster, but you do need to make the space for a larger cage. You could maybe get rid of, if you have some small furniture in your room, like a beanbag chair or something, maybe you could get rid of that and put a hamster cage somewhere. But you do need to provide your hamster with its necessities, which includes a large cage. So if you cannot provide them with a larger cage, it is recommended that you don't own the hamster. So I'm sorry if some people get mad at that, but that is just the reality of owning a hamster, and the hamster being happy comes before the hamster living in a smaller cage. Another thing you can do is maybe show your parents a YouTube video or a photo of a really nice large hamster cage. I know some German hamster cages look really nice, and you can show that to your parents and say, this is what will make my hamster happy. This is the large cage. See how happy this hamster is in this larger cage. And maybe that will just show them that hamsters do need large habitats, and this hamster that you have living in this tiny cage isn't happy. And you can just show your parents that, as well as if your hamster is climbing the bars and biting on the bars, you can show your parents the hamster biting on the bars and say, this is not happy, this is not a happy hamster, and I really need to get them a larger habitat. You can show them maybe a YouTube video of someone setting up a larger cage, or someone telling you why they need a larger cage, and you could just show your parents that these are the reasons why my hamster needs a larger cage, and it is incredibly beneficial that they have a large cage. So that is just a few tips that I have for kids trying to convince their parents to get them a larger hamster cage. I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. I know it was I keep getting comments on people saying that they need a larger cage, but their parents aren't asking them to, or their parents aren't letting them. So I hope you have enjoyed this video. I hope it has helped, and I will see you in my next video.